Hello and welcome to another video on Microsoft Fabric, and in this video we will learn about how to use Spark or Notebook in Microsoft Fabric ecosystem. Now we will use Spark, we will code it in the notebook and we'll use Spark and we'll try to load the data in the lakehouse, and while loading that data we will also try to see can we do a manipulation. I'm going to use Python here, and in Python we have something known as DataFrame, which is I'm going to use, which is in the pandas library. There is a code available on the Microsoft site. So today what we are going to do is mostly going to use that particular code only. So let me jump on to my Fabric, which is basically nothing but app.powerbi.com, from where I can access my Fabric. If you're following my previous videos, you might have seen that I already upgraded to the Fabric on a trial, and I'm running that. Now what next I need to do that? Now for today's video, I'm going to create a new lakehouse because I have done few experiments and I want to make sure that we separate out whatever we are doing today. So for today's video, let's create a new lakehouse, and because we are going to use the data science or Spark here, because there is no data science in today's video, we are going to use the Spark only. So Spark Notebook, we are going to call it. I'm going to show you data science algorithm in upcoming videos, where we will learn the data science algorithm also, or basically the machine learning algorithm we will plan to run on the data lake. So now I have created a blank new data lake, and you can see there is no files, there is no tables out here. And in this one, I wanted to load the data. Now you have seen that I already used in the parts the data flow gen 2, and few ways which has been given here are available. And there is another way by which we can load the data, and the way is there, we can have a notebook. So I'm going to open a new notebook. How to load the data using the new notebook? We need to have a Spark configuration first of all. Now in case of the trial, we do get a Spark capacity vessel, but let's go ahead and check it out. What is this Spark setting available with us, and how you are going to set that to a different level. So let me go to the workspace again, Fabric 01, and let me go to the three dots and the workspace setting. Here is the three dot after manage access, and let me click on the workspace setting. And if I go to the workspace setting, you will see this data engineering Spark compute option here, a little bit down, and you can see the starter pool is available here. Now this is something which you need to have in case you are planning to use the Spark. Now what version, runtime version you want, you can change it. Right now I'm using whatever is default. Automatically track the machine learning experiment model, this is there, and then few Spark properties are there. Right now there is only starter pool. If you have something else, you can create your new pool. So you need to take care that these settings are done in case you have purchased a separate capacity and planning to use that. So right now, because I am on the trial, I am using the trial settings. Now I'll go back to my workspace, and 01 Fabric is my workspace, and in 01 Fabric workspace I have created a new lakehouse which we have called as Spark Notebook. Let's see, where is it? It is here, and I click back here. Now you know where is the setup is. Now we can run it. So we'll click on new notebook, open notebook. There is an option in open notebook itself, you have option for new. Okay, and we are here right now on the Explorer, Data Lake Explorer, where we are doing this. So I'll click on new notebook. Now I'll tell you one code which is available with us. So which is basically in the documentation itself. I am in the data science documentation, I am there, and in the data science documentation you have tutorials where you have notebook, and in the notebook how you are going to load the data into data lake. That's the code which is something which we are going to use today. Okay, so we need a code to read the file, and we need pandas to do. We are going to use pandas for that. I'm going to use the Python code, so I'm going to use pandas. In the pandas, I'm going to bring in the data by reading a CSV file, and the CSV file which I'm planning to read here is basically the same CSV file I'm using till now, which is available on my GitHub account. And this is retail data.fabric, which I have used in the previous video also. So I'm going to take a raw copy of that. And once you open that file, I'm going to give you the link. So basically, typically, if you are on my GitHub account, you have to go to the CSV. And inside the CSV, if you scroll down, you will get this raw retail data fabric.csv, and they are raw. Right click and say copy link. This is the link I plan to use. Now what I've done is I already had some code so that we run it smoothly. So at few places I'm going to use that. So first of all, we need to import pandas. So I need to say import pandas as PD. Now this is something which you have to reject actually. Now import pandas as PD. So I have imported the file. Then I have to write down a code to import that one. So I need to create a data frame. So df is equal to PD dot read CSV, and in the double quotes I'm going to give this argument. Okay, so that's how I'm going to start. Now once I am done with the reading of CSV, pd.read CSV, I just would like to display this data set because I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right stuff here. So let me go, and please don't press Alt Enter here. Please press Enter if you want to write down to the new line. So to display that data set data, we have a function display, and display function I can give df, which is my data frame, and there is a snippet which can also help read data from Azure Data Lake, read data from CSV file. You can type snippet and it is going to give you the help for that. So what I'm going to do here is basically I am going to run this now. To run this, there is a small button, if you can see here. So there is a small button here. I want to run only this portion. If I want to run all the code, then I can use the run all here on the top. But because I only want to run this particular portion, I can run this. Right now I have, this is the only portion I have. So let us see, am I able to run a command to get the data or read the data, CSV data from external source. See, this is external source right now, which we are trying to read here. So it's giving, and it should display a data frame in case I'm successfully able to run this code. So it has started the Spark job, and you can see the data has been displayed. It means the data has been loaded into the memory and it is getting displayed. Now, what is the next thing you want? Now, the next thing, definitely I would like to save it in a CSV file. Okay, isn't it? That's the one. And if you go here, there are a few options which has been given here. Data.write, this is basically when you read into the packet, when you transfer into the packet and then you do it. That's what the option is. But you have, a write option, which we are going to use to write directly into the CSV file. So we are going to use that also. And I have seen that option is available under data preparing, how to read and write data with pandas. So if you go here and if you look, this is read CSV data, and then you can have spark.df to pandas. This is something which is also available, and pd.read CSV, which we already used, and pd.read packet if I want to read the packet, to packet if I want to save it be the packet, and to Excel if I want to save to Excel, and we have to CSV also if I want to save as to CSV, and I need to give the location. Okay, so to CSV and to packet is something which we are going to use now. Now, but before I do that, actually I want to add a new column here, because that's what our objective is, isn't it? We want to do transformation, and my favorite transformation, those who are following it with me, is that I add a column gross. I do add few columns, but here we can try adding one. So df, and in the df, in the single quotes, I'm going to give gross. And then I need to be little bit carefully know my names of my this one. What are the names I have in the file? Those are the names which I actually need. Let me see if I can scroll a little bit. So I need unit quantity and price. So same way I need unit quantity and price. So what I can do here is basically I can say gross star. I can say quantity QTY star unit price. Now because I already executed. Now if I do it again, it's going to execute it again. So let me see if I can add a new code block. So yeah, so I added a new code block here. I came down and I clicked there and it given me an option. Now if I add this, then again I need to display it. So what I'm going to do is I only want to execute this code now. So I say df gross equal to df in the bracket single quote quantity and df and df should already exist. So df is already existing. Just make sure the df already exists. And then we say run these commands. And now I don't want to run all, I want to run this exclusive one. And I'm expecting that at the end, it should give me gross. See, it's giving me gross. So I'm able to add a new column. So I have loaded the data into the Spark ecosystem right now. I have added a new column. And let me do one thing. Let me open new app.powerbi.com here. And the reason I'm opening here because I don't want to refresh and go back from notebook to the Lakehouse view. I just wanted to keep that separately open and so that I can refresh it and see it. So I go here in the Lakehouse and now let me refresh and check, do I have any file here? Right now I don't have any file. I don't have any tables. So now let me try my first stuff. I want to save this, and what we have seen df dot to CSV is something which we wanted to try. So to CSV. Now in the CSV I need to give the path. So from where I'm going to get that path. To get that path, come back to this files, and this is actually available here. You don't even need to come back. Here there are 3 dots. So look at this place. We have the 3 dots here on the files because I'm planning to load it into the files. So click on the 3 dots and say copy relative path for this Spark or copy absolute ABS path, complete path basically. So I'm going to copy this and inside the double quote, let me paste this. Now this gives me address still files. I want to add my file name and I'm going to call this data as retail 1.csv. So let me see, can I load this data as a CSV file into my Lakehouse? Let me run this. And it has loaded, and again I have added one more code so I can continue to use. So I come to this page and let me refresh it and let me click back on the files and you can see I have retail.csv. If I click on that, it's going to give me the preview of that file. So I'm getting a preview of this file also. I click back here and here if I go to the 3 dots, it do give me option load to tables. I'm not going to use that right now, but I come here again and this time we say df dot to underscore parquet. So parquet file we want, and this is the almost similar code which I need, but the only difference I'm going to have it here is basically copy paste sometime is not a great idea. Okay, so I have this. I'm going to do few more changes. So I'm saying df.to parquet, and in that to parquet, one is I need to have the parquet extension, and I'm just going to change the name little bit so that we are able to differentiate. I'm going to call it 2. Okay, and now, and please remember my file doesn't have any column which contains space. So none of the column names have spaces. That I've already taken care, and that's why I created this specific file for Fabric, because Lakehouse doesn't support space in the column name. So I've taken care of that. Now let me run. I have run it. Now let me go back, refresh it. And I got a Delta Parquet file. So now definitely there would be no preview available for the Delta Parquet file. But I'm not getting any table here, isn't it? I want a Parquet file. Now, is it not Delta Parquet or what it is? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you two ways you can convert it into data packet. Basically, it will come into a format which basically where it will become a table. There are two ways we can convert this packet into a table. Now, one is that I click here and I say load to tables and go to convert into this one. Another is I do it via code. So first, why don't I do it via code? So I go to the open space here and then I click here. So I need to make sure that I have the data in the DF. Now data is there in the DF. The data file is written. The file is already been written in the retail 2. Now this is the file which I'm going to use. And I'm going to take this code basically. So now if you look at this code, which is basically given in the load data, it says df.spark.read packet file. So I'm going to read a packet file and I'm going to write it back to a table, which is basically the last code df.write mode append format delta save as table and table name. This is what I wanted to try, the first command and the last command. This is what I plan to do. So I paste the first command here. I'm not able to copy that correctly. So let me copy. Okay, so let me copy this command and here I need a location. So let me get this location, shift and copy, paste. And second one I need basically, okay, double quotes is not correctly fine. This is fine. Enter, not shift enter or alt enter. Okay, it may run the code. And the second part of the code which I need here is the df.write mode append. I can use overwrite also. Let's say first time you want to use overwrite. You can have append means basically if there is already some data, is going to append it. And I need to give a table name and I'm going to give a table name here basically. What is the table name I should give? RETAIL retail underscore table. Okay. So I would like to now run. So spark.read packet. So I'm reading the packet file which I've loaded there and I'm going to load that into uh, the data lake as a table now. That's what I wanted. So let me, so check. Okay, now there is one difference we have to do. Now df is already there with us. Okay, so why don't we rename it as df1 and df1? So we don't lose the df and we have new variables created. So it's taking a little bit of time. So we are reading the packet file and going to, and this is saying successful job. And it's not that you are running one job and it's going to run only one job. It may run series of jobs to accomplish that. And Spark is going to decide that what kind of jobs you need to run. So we now go again here and now we refresh it and want to see, do we have a table here? And yes, we have a table here. So we have a table out here now and the table should have a gross, isn't it? Table has a gross. So I taken a data in the Spark in the data frame. I added new column, means I've done the data manipulation and then I loaded it into the Lakehouse, means my data transformation is done in Spark. Now we can go to the SQL view and just check it out. Is it appearing there? And let SQL view load in. We should be able to see the same table there. That's what the objective is. And you can see the retail table coming here. It means I will be able to run the SQL query also here. Now I got my this one. Now let's go back to the Lakehouse mode. And in the Lakehouse mode, we would like to see that can we this file can we manually convert it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come here and now let me stop all the sessions. I don't need a Spark session running now. So whenever you are not using it, just go ahead and close it. That's the good way to manage the capacity of the Spark, or you have scheduled it to stop if something is not running. Now let's go to this retail parquet and then click here and say load to tables and call it retail underscore tab one. We call it table, so it's just a different name. And it's taking some time, little bit, and you will be able to see at two places what is happening. Basically, a small arrow is moving here, and the small one is, the circle is also moving here. The two places you will be able to observe. Now here you can see still the, this is moving and this is moving, and it will take a little bit of time depending on how much data it is, and that has gone. And this one is still moving notification. Let me see what's upcoming here. In the notification, it's still showing the data is loading. And here you see, here it is, the tab one has come. Now table one has come. So now we have got a table in the lakehouse using Spark. I did not use data pipeline. I did not use data flow. I have directly taken data from the source in the Spark and done it. Now it doesn't mean that you have to follow that way. Means Spark may not be the place where you wanted to land it. So data is available in the table, and why don't we analyze this data into Power BI? Because that's what we are going to do using in the end-to-end scenarios. So I go on the right top, you can see the Lakehouse is written here, and in the, we will click on there, and then we'll go to the SQL endpoint, and in SQL endpoint we do see the option to create a new report. I'm going to create the new Power BI report. And in the new Power BI report, I'm going to use one of the tables which we have created here. And let me use this table. And in this table, what I'm going to bring in, I can bring in, let's say, category. And along with category, let me bring in the gross, which I've newly calculated. And I'm able to create my visuals. So, and I can create n number of visuals and can analyze this data in Power BI. I can run the SQL and can also analyze the data in the SQL endpoint. So there are a lot of options to do that. So now we are done with this case where we are able to transform the data in the Spark ecosystem and bring it back to the Lakehouse. So now let me save the report. You might be surprised that, I was talking about less data replication, but the step which I told you, actually write down the Parquet file, read it back, and then again do it. Now to avoid that, what we can do is basically, this is basically using the Spark data frame, which is basically writing it back. So what we can do to do that is basically we can directly convert the pandas data frame into the Spark data frame and try to write it back. So what I've done is I've written the small code here, and I'm going to show you that I will be able to create this table using this method. And so directly, instead of writing the Parquet file and then reading it back and then doing it, you can avoid that. And then you, in this one simple step, you will be reaching out directly to the table view. So this will write down the table. So let's see, it's running. And once that is done, means now you have the method where you read it in the pandas, convert it into a Spark data frame, and write it directly into the Lakehouse as a table. And now the job has successfully completed. And what we have to do is we can go to the another window and refresh it. And I have done few experiments in between. I keep on doing that. So you don't worry if you see more tables at some place. So you can see that fourth table coming in place, and we should have gross. That's what the added thing what we have. So you can see this is here. So it means without writing it in a Parquet format, just by converting the data frame into the Spark data frame, you will be able to write it. So try that out. And what we are going to do is, now we have this files which are there. So next time in the next, what we are going to do is we will try to see if we can run some kind of a machine learning algorithm like clustering or classification on this data, and see that how it's going to work, and can we write it back. So go ahead and try this out, and do let me know what else you want me to consider in this particular series. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you.